Justin, what do you think Leon can bring to you as an inside linebacker?
Well, Leon's obviously played there before and got some valuable experience there. He's a real physical guy. He's very smart, and we're excited about adding him to the group.
What were your impressions of what Ryan Conley was able to do? Obviously going to a game not knowing what your role is going to be, winds up playing almost the whole game.
Yeah, I thought Ryan did an excellent job. There's a lot of guys who gave great efforts during the game, and Ryan was a guy, to be honest, it wasn't real surprising. Ryan's shown improvement since I've been here, and just a chance for him to go out and play, and I thought he played totally under control and did a really good job, and we're glad we got him.
Does Chris's injury change at all what you try and do with the inside backers? Because there was a guy who started 10 games last year.
What do you mean?
Does it change your approach? Does it, maybe got somebody in there with less experience?
Not really. No. Those guys in that room, losing Chris, it's tough. And you hate it for him because it matters so much to him. And the good thing is, a guy like him with his attitude, he'll be back as fast as humanly possible. The great thing about that group is, and a lot of guys on the team, it's the next man up, and they'll be ready to play. And I think Ryan embodied that last weekend, and so I don't think we change anything going forward. We try again. It's always about playing to our team's strengths, and so those things can sway a little bit, but I'm not really worried about it other than that.
So how would you evaluate your depth in that position with two guys, Edwards, and then with Orr? How would you say where you want to be, linebackers?
Well, I mean, you don't ever want to lose anybody. So, and I don't know if there's a coach out there that thinks you have too much depth. So, obviously, losing Chris and having TJ out, it's not ideal, but that's the game of football, and it's the next man up, and that's why guys practice, and that's why they come here, and that's why you prepare, because things happen, and when it's your time, guys rise to the occasion and step up and play. And so, again, it wasn't surprising what Ryan did, and obviously hate losing guys like Chris and not having TJ, but that's part of the game.
What kind of strides has Alec James made this offseason as far as coming out as more complete defensively?
Yeah, Alex, his work ethic is very impressive. He's got some really good physical tools. He's a very smart player. He's a very tough guy. He doesn't say a whole lot. Just goes about his business, and Anoke has done a great job working with him, and you see him get better, every week in, week out, and he can do some different things. He can line up at 4 technique, he can line up in 3 technique, he can play a little bit of nose for us and nickel, so he's done some real good things.
The game is about the players, but was there a certain measure of pride you took in the way that defense played in your first game as coordinator here?
Just proud of the guys on the team. They really fought. We went into the game expecting to win the game and play well, and we were far from perfect. There was a few run fits that we weren't quite where we needed to be, and a couple things in the pass game that could have been cleaner, but that's how football goes. And I think just the attitude they took and how hard they played, and to just keep swinging and keep fighting, and having to come up with a play at the end of the game. We knew it would probably come down to something like that, and it was satisfying to see those guys work and be rewarded for it.
Is there any play that sticks out to you above maybe the others?
There's so many, and it's hard to single out one player or one play or one player, because so many guys did so many things, and defensive side of the ball and the offensive side and the special teams, and that's what's so great about this game, is it takes all phases.
Ryan had a nice tackle on Fournette on a screen pass.
That was a huge play.
What did you see from that?
Well, they ran a screen into a pressure, which is hard, and Ryan, in that call, is kind of the last line of defense before it gets to the secondary, and I mean, he couldn't have played it any better. And it was a 3rd down and 8, and they got numbers out in the screen. We lost a guy, in the rush, and it was a huge play. And that's one of those that, it was a great play, but when you really look at it and you study it on tape, at the time of the game and the situation, it's a 3rd down, and they have a good play into that pressure, and he made it. And so, I told him that one's going on the teach tape for a long time.
How much potential does your front seven have to get even better after such a good performance in week 1?
Well, that's, like I said, we didn't come in, everybody was excited about the win and should be, but it's not like everybody came in and was patting each other on the back, and, you have to go back to work, and no matter the outcome, you're gonna have things to learn from, and it's always nice to learn those lessons when you win. So you don't diminish that, but there was a lot to take off the tape, and whether it was a technique or a pattern matchup or a run fit, there was just so many things to learn. So I'm not worried about the guys, losing that mentality of going to work every day, and they've done it this week so far, and I would expect that would continue.
What stands out to you about Akron when you look at them on tape?
Yeah, well, won 8 games last year, won a bowl game. They got a big mobile quarterback, and he's got extremely strong arm. Running back's a very good football player. They got a big wideout who creates some matchup problems for people. They got a couple guys in the slot that have really good quickness, and they go with tempo. So, they create a lot of problems, and there's a reason they won games. They got good coaches and a good system. So it'll be a challenge for us, and I know our guys have watched the tape, and we've watched a bunch of their tape and understand that.
Does it make it any more difficult for you guys that you're going from kind of 2 completely different offenses week to week?
Well, I think that's part of the challenge of college football. That's what you get. You're going to see 2 back and huddle offenses one week, and the next week you might see spread, no huddle quarterback run teams, and so that's just part of it. You got to be prepared for that. You got to know it in the off season that it's coming, and start your preparation a long time ago.
With what Ryan brings to you, what's his ceiling in your eyes?
Ryan Connolly? I just think, Ryan's the type of guy, he's a very conscientious, hardworking guy. I think he's going to get better and better, I really do. And he just, the way he goes about his business, he's a little bit understated, as now you guys probably know. But he's a worker, and he's earned what he's got, and he's got some good physical tools. Ryan's a real fast guy, he's got good size, so I think the more he plays, he's going to get better and better. And I think he'd be the first to tell you he's still got a lot to learn and a lot to work on, but we're excited we got him.
Jackson, you thought that when you came in, you thought he was the oldest guy in the room? Just by looking at him?
Ryan?
Yeah.
I won't comment on that.
You've heard that uncle then.
Yeah.
What do you think about that nickname?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, they got a lot of nicknames for each other. I'm going to leave that up to those guys.
Going into this week, obviously it's not as hyped up as LSU is, but what are you preaching to the guys to maintain that same type of mentality?
We said it last week and the week before that, and in fall camp. It's really just how you prepare every day. You prepare for the opponent. The opponent gives you the information on what you need to get ready for in terms of scheme and matchups and all that. But really, it's just, each week it's just what's the best you can bring. And that's really the challenge. And I think our guys understand that it's not about who you're playing. And this team's got a lot of really good athletes, and they create matchup issues and they create issues with their scheme. So our guys know that, and you've got to come out with your best every week. That's the thing about football. It's not maybe different a little bit than, say, track, where the fastest guy wins. Like, you have to come out and go to work and prepare every single week to play your best, because any team can give you a handful, and I think our guys understand that.
How different are the offenses that you're going to see as compared to last week to this week?
Yeah, it's significant. I mean, it's obviously what they've done before in terms of the tempo and the quarterback run game and the spread and some of the formations and the runs that you get. It is different, but that's like I said, that's part of college football and part of the challenge of playing week to week, and you got to be able to reset on Sunday and take the lessons from the game and then move right on to your next opponent.
They're going to be airing it out a ton.
Yep.
How do you think you guys are on the pass game right now?
Well, I think the guys done a great job. Jim Leonard has done a fantastic job with the secondary, and I thought those guys competed really hard last week. Really proud of them, and I think each of them is going to continue to get better. And I'm excited for them. I think they're probably excited that the ball is going to be up in the air because that makes it a chance to go make some plays. And so I think like anything, they're going to continue to work at their craft. And Jim's, like I said, Jim's done a great job teaching those guys, and the sky's the limit for them.
Do you feel like there's a little bit of less pressure put on you with your debut as the D coordinator and that pulling out that win? Your defense was so superb. Do you feel like now you can relax and focus more on coaching, or was that ever an issue?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think about things like that. It's really just helping our team prepare as best they can, and that's really any coach, that's our job. And so that's how I approach all that. And it was great for our fans and our school and the players on our team to go have success in a game like that, but we got to get right back at it and go back to work, because if you don't, every team you play has plenty of talent, and so I don't really approach it like that. Never looked at it that way, but.
So no time to soak in that victory for you?
You get the ride home, basically. You get the ride home and, enjoy it. But like I said, it's on to the next one.
Justin, I was talking to Alec James just a few minutes ago, and he told me that defensive linemen this year, last year their main job was to take up more blockers to free up the linebackers. This year they have a little bit, I guess, more freedom to kind of, I guess, make more plays. You kind of maybe further explain that, philosophy and why you feel it's better for.
I think
to do with what you're doing this year.
I don't know if anybody will ever say it's not a plan for the D-line to make plays. The D-line, it's always a plan for them to make plays, and they've done it. Like OK Breckfield's done a great job working with those guys, and I would be a hard question for me to answer. I think there's.
Maybe not explaining it well.
Yeah, you always want them to make a play. Everybody's got a job to do. Everybody's got an assignment on every defense, and you have a primary and a secondary, and that comes with your alignment, your assignment, your technique, and then your effort. And so all those things come into it. And I thought, like I said, a lot of guys, including the D linemen, did some great things last week. We've got to continue to build on some of those things and shore up some of the things we weren't quite as good at every position. But I'm excited. Those guys play really, really hard, and they play with technique, and they get to the football, and there's plenty to work on. I don't know if you ever met a good player who would tell you otherwise. There's always something to work on. So.
I think you said there were like some D-line friendly calls.
Oh, yeah. Well, you'd hope they're friendly to everybody. There's certain things and certain defenses are going to be, certain people are going to be in more stress than others. We played a lot of single high coverage last week, so the corners didn't get a ton of help, and sometimes with the stunts and things that'll free up one of the D linemen or one of the outside linebackers. But yeah, that's just, we're trying to do what's best for our players, and that's about it.
Edwards, any status on him for this upcoming week?
I saw him today. He's doing great, so we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. That'll be every question about TJ Edwards will be the answer will be we'll see.
But you're seeing positive progress.
Ever since I've been here, I've seen positive progress from TJ. So ever since I've been here. So you'll have to talk to Coach Chris.
And then one more on Orr. What conversation did you have with him after his injury? I know that has to be tough with a player.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's again part of the game, and it's never fun, and you hate it for him because you guys probably got to know him a little bit. I mean, his personality is so big, and he loves this team, and he loves playing, and it hurts. And it'll take he'll have a little bit of time to kind of, we talked. You got a couple days to feel sorry for yourself. Now we got to get rolling, and he will. I mean, he came in that first day and was like with a smile on his face, and it's just part of it, and it's unfortunate, but. He'll be back, and he'll be back as soon as humanly possible, and he'll be there every step of the way. I mean, he's still sitting in the meetings, he still talks as much as he ever has, and it's awesome, and I wouldn't want it any other way.